Well, hello, everyone.
Hey, happy Friday. And I like that new music.
You do? It's
I
not
was,
new.
well, I'm not on here as often as I used to be.
Well, that's true. I know I always end up dancing. So
Oh,
hopefully our viewers are dancing with us.
that's
Although
right.
those that watch it later, Shelly does take that off. So
Oh,
I know. Well,
well,
we don't
no
really need a
fair.
countdown if we're not going live. So, anyways, welcome to Book Marketing Pro Academy. This is Carol Tetzloff and Athena Dean Holtz. And we are here today to give you an industry update. And we have a lot of people in our group that are currently preparing to launch their book. And so we did some research as to what the trends are in 2025. And we thought we would just walk through the different phases of book marketing for your launch. So there's 5 phases we're going to walk through, all the way from starting about 6 months prior, which many of you are beyond that point, all the way until post launch, because your book is not the end, it is the
Beginning.
yeah. So when your book launches, we need to launch strong, but then you need to continue the momentum even afterwards. So, Athena, the first phase in our book launching process is really the pre launch. It's about 4 to 6 months prior. So, if you're in that phase where you're just kind of finishing up, typically at Redemption Press, if you're in our process, 4 months out, you are probably in layout, getting ready to go to layout. You have your cover, you have all the exciting things happening. And we are really kind of pushing towards getting your book laid out. So during that process, it takes a little bit of time for the layout designer to do that. So you have plenty of time to really focus in on a few things. We're going to go through these ones relatively quickly because you should already have most of them already identified at almost the beginning of your process. But so, Athena, how do we build that foundation?
Well, first of all, and you hear all of you in BMA, you hear this all the time. Identify your core audience. We do not let you get by without doing that because if you just think everyone's going to read your book, then you're going to be set up for failure. And we want to make sure that you are set up for success. And so having that ideal reader profile locked in where you know who you're going for is the first step.
Yeah, and then once you have that underway, you're going to have to start making the packages, the things that you need for your book at this point. So really taking that message package, what we call a marketing copy package, which is your back cover copy, perhaps it's a tagline, your book hooks, your bio, all the things that you need in order to really start marketing your book. And you do it for your book and for the collateral items that you need for the actual cover and some of the interior. But honestly, it's a product or a process that you can use anytime in your book marketing process.
Absolutely. And a lot of times people don't realize what a gold mine that marketing copy package is with the press release and the pull quotes and the keywords and all the things. There's ways to leverage that, which are very important. So if you haven't done that yet and you're past this mark, you definitely want to go back and do that. So the next one is to build or refresh your email list and social media presence. Uh, if you haven't got a good lead magnet that you're offering to get people into your email list, that is definitely something you want to do.
Yeah, because those are great ways to start, priming the pump,
Mhm.
right? And then you want to really just start creating a bunch of content. So taking pull quotes, taking maybe short snippets from your story, from your book, things that have happened to you that relate to the theme in your story, and begin creating a bunch of posts, email sequences, getting some maybe video work done, some reels, and have it just ready to launch so that when you get into that launch process, you're not having to create everything.
Mm, that is so important. And then finally, on the foundation is recruit a launch team. Focus on relational, engaged people who love you and love your message and want to see you succeed. not just big numbers. You don't want to just get any old Joe off the street and say, hey, you want to be on my book launch team? No, you want great people on there who are going to represent you well.
Yeah. So in 2025, really the trend is during this process of the building is really a slow build. Personal engagement works way better than a big impersonal mass invites. So really target those people that you feel are going to be most beneficial because they love you and they know you, and use those people to help leverage your launch. All right, so phase 2 then is the warm up. And the warm up is like 60 to 90 days out. It's where we do start really gaining a little bit of traction and letting people know that our book is coming out. So how do we start that kind of buzz, Athena?
We first send out advanced reader copies. So that's known as an ARC. And because you want to prep people for early reviews. The earlier you can start bringing in those reviews, the better.
Yeah, and then you want to begin really starting to appear, but really leverage or lining up some podcast appearances, interviews, blogs on other people's sites, devotional sites that you can be a part of to leverage other people's audiences. So you can start even doing some research, start to decide what kind of content you need to send them that will reach the need of their audience. All those things need to be very specific for who you're going to partner with.
So good. Then the next one is use Reels, Shorts, TikTok. I'm not a TikTok fan, but people do it and do well with it. So use those platforms to really share behind the scenes content. I mean, I remember when I first went on doing lives and doing some short form content and then some longer. I did my radio show or my podcast and let the listeners and the watchers see that behind the scenes before it gets edited, when it's live with the author, and just people like to see behind the scenes stuff. So that's always a great kind of content to create.
It is. Also, you could run like soft giveaways or, of course, a lead magnet that leads people to you and to your book when it will eventually release, to build your email list and even build followers on some social media. One of the things that I actually talked to an author this morning whose book is going to launch next fall, but she's going to do almost a month-long promotion of what we're going to call exclusive something. I wrote it down. Exclusive limited pre-launch. So a certain amount of people can buy her book as a pre-launch, and they get like a special certificate and a book placard in it. And so we're going to do some fun things with that. So scheduling those giveaways ahead of time can start building momentum.
And the last one, schedule Facebook and Instagram lives with aligned ministries or influencers. That way you're teaming up with someone who's already got an audience and just being a part of one of their lives, or doing your own live and bringing them on as a guest. However you can really leverage the people that have a similar audience, and you promote their stuff and they promote yours. Just getting those scheduled, maybe not done, but actually scheduled so that you can make sure you're able to get in on their timeline, because when they're influencers, they're booked out. And so you want to make sure you are way in front of the 8 ball before you contact them.
Right. So good. Collaboration is key. Yeah. So in 2025, in this particular stage, really authentic video content outperforms static posts. So I know it's much easier to just post a picture or post a graphic, but when you can actually do some video content or even like the reels, it still is a higher engagement than the stagnant posts. All right, so we're at stage 3, and stage 3 is that launch window. And the launch window is typically 30 days before the release, but we have to think it's not just the 30 days before, it's also 30 days after. So it's this block of about 60 days that you're going to work within.
So we're going to, at this point, maximize our visibility. That is the goal during that 60 days, to activate your launch team to post and review, get them just totally active on what you've given them to do and the resources that you've given them to share, whether they're memes or just different content. Just really activate them so that they can launch right alongside with you.
Right. And as you do that, you can also use even paid Amazon ads to do that. I would really do some research on your book topic and some of the things that your book is, how it's playing out, because you don't want to waste money on ads, but yet you do want to be able to use them if it's a great fit for your particular topic. And as you kind of work through Amazon, recognize that there are ways to leverage Amazon. And that's one of the things that we actually do at Redemption Press with your ebook, is we make sure that we leverage your ebook during that launch period, about 15 days out before your print copy goes live, so that you can really garnish those reviews. And that's a great opportunity for you to really grow your reach.
So what's the deal here about YouTube targeting niche audiences? Is that new?
Sure. I mean, I always think a niche audience is good. Actually, because when we were doing research for this, there was something that came up in the other publishing marketing thing that we had pulled up, and it said that niche audiences were kind of the trend, that people are really trying to discover who that is. I spoke with one of our authors, Elizabeth Abshire, yesterday, and her book is a devotional for 911 dispatchers. Like, you can't get much more niche than that.
Yeah.
And sometimes you think, like, a lot of times traditional publishers won't pick that up because the audience is way too small. But it helps Elizabeth because she, first of all, was a dispatcher, so she has that connecting piece. But it also gives her a very strategic focus. And she's like, these are the podcasts I'm going on. These are the people I'm connecting with. So she knows exactly who that person is. And so even with YouTube, people are looking for something that's going to speak directly to them.
I love that. And that is the power, really, of a very niche audience, is you can find them. If you're thinking everyone's going to respond, how do you find everyone? Go put billboards up? That's like not realistic. Okay, next one. Schedule virtual launch events. Devotionals, live readings. There's all sorts of different creative things you can do during that 60 days, really making the most of virtual events.
Yeah. And if you have an in-person event, one thing I always encourage is go ahead and do it live. Like, just turn on your Facebook Live and let the people that are not able to attend in person be a part of whatever type of program. And I wouldn't just put it live and just stick it in the room, because that's kind of lame.
Boring.
But if you have anything that's actually happening in your room, do it live so everyone can see. Also, you could release a video trailer, and a video trailer, it has so many different opportunities for you. You can send it to churches, to like ministry directors, to schools, to library. You could send it to tons of places that they could utilize to promote your book. And so video trailers are great. They need to be done well. They need to be short, and they need to be shareable.
So good. And I want to just tag on to that last one on the virtual launch, doing even if you do an in-person one, having the video going live. Since a good launch event will have a very specific time set for the author to get up and share what they're doing and how, what the journey's been like, what they might read from the book, whatever. But there's a time during that in-person that is really, there's something going on the platform or in, kind of on whatever stage you have in the venue that you're utilizing, and to really even promote on your social media that we are going to be coming to you live during this part of the event and the time is X, so that you really do get some engagement during the time when, the excitement is really evident and happening in the event.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so my next one, the last one on this list, is collaborate with partner ministries, podcasts, or speaking opportunities during that 60-day window.
Yeah, really good way to promote. And really think of your book. In 2025, one of the big things is we don't want to just promote buy my book. We want to promote the ministry that our book brings to our reader and to the audience that we're trying to reach. So when we promote a ministry, it has a higher level of acceptability than just go out and buy my book, right?
Yep.
Okay, so now, like we said, your launch is not just the end of the era, it is now the beginning of the new era. And so we're going into the post-launch momentum. And many of you in our academy are getting ready to launch your book, but these are some of the things you need to start thinking towards as that launch comes out. So did you have something to say, Athena?
Well, that's all right. That's okay.
What?
Well, it looked like you didn't do the 2025 book as a ministry movement, but then I realized you did talk about that, so I was going to let it go.
Okay.
Oh gosh! All right, so sustain attention.
Post-launch. Go ahead. Sustain attention.
Okay. Number 1, continue steady content drip on socials. So don't be like me. Don't be a pantster where you fly by the seat of your pants and don't prepare ahead of time all of that content and whatever you're going to use to keep the momentum going during the launch and after the launch. So really have it planned out so you know right where to go, and whether you use some of those ways of preloading when you want it to drip and when you want it to come out. I'm like totally spacing on the name of the scheduling. Well, yeah, but there's a name of one of those scheduler apps that it's just going out. It's gone.
Hootsuite.
Hootsuite. There it is. I knew it started with an H.
But you can schedule direct from Facebook or Instagram. So you don't have to purchase a scheduler. And I love Facebook's schedule. Like, it's so easy. And you can go in and make changes very easily to it if you wanted to update something. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. The next one is sharing reader testimonials, the reviews, or even speaking recaps when you went to present about your book. Testimonials are huge, and that's why you really want to get reviews. And the reviews don't just stop during the release period, but they continue on. Here's an example. I taught at a church 3 years after my first Bible study released, and I got another 30 reviews from that Bible study because I just made the call out like, hey, you just walked through my Bible study. Can you go on Amazon and put a review? And I couldn't believe, like, boom, all of a sudden I had like 30 more reviews. So keep the momentum going. Anytime you know someone has bought your book or read it, ask them to leave a review.
I love that. And it's always, I mean, that's scriptural. Have another man praise you, not your own lips. All right. Offer book clubs, study guides, and downloadable resources. Always adding value as you continue to promote the message God's given you.
Yeah, for sure. And then you want to pitch bulk orders for churches, groups, and ministries, making sure that you have that offer for them. So what else are you going to give them? Are you going to give them those study guides, resources, video series that goes with it so they can use it in their small groups? And that's a great way to step out of the actual launch and really start gaining momentum in your book sales. Because in not just 2025, but all the time, most sales are not made in the first 2 weeks. It's made after the fact. And so sustaining momentum is the key to keep book sales going. All right, Athena, we have phase number 5. The very last phase is evergreen funnel. Evergreen. That's a great word because they say create a product that is evergreen, lasts forever.
Absolutely. That's always relevant, whether it's a Christmas or Advent product that every year we get Advent and we have Christmas. So that's an evergreen product, but there's so many other ways for a product to be evergreen. So it doesn't have to be a church calendar kind of thing. Long-term growth. You want to create ongoing lead magnets, free downloads tied to your book topic. You should have a bank of 5 or 10 lead magnets that you can always just grab and get them out there and add value to your readers and new readers.
Yeah, very good. Build automated email nurture sequences. So as people capture that lead magnet, you want to place them in a nurture sequence that's going to really help whatever the lead magnet was on. It's going to draw them to continue to just learn and want more. And then if the lead magnet is what's leading them to your book, eventually you want them to buy the book. If it's leading them from the book to you, you want to just make sure that you're being a good steward of their giving you their email address.
So, Carol, would you consider, like, as an example of an automated email nurture sequence, like a 21-day devotional on something related to your book?
Oh, for sure.
So
yes, you could do a topic that's related to your book. You could. So when you do like a 21-day devotional, I don't know that you want to drop into their feed every day for 21 days. That might be a little excessive because people are going to be like, unsubscribe, you're like bothering me. So, but it could be like a 21-day devotional is your lead magnet. And then you would do every week a check-in. So after the first week, day 7, how are you doing with the devotional? Here's what we learned this week. Here's a way to go further, and then so you could encourage them. And that's really encouraging them to stay in the Word, to be, active in their daily quiet times. So
nice. Okay. Good idea. All right. So
I think it's you.
Next. Am I next?
You're next. I did the nurture sequence.
Okay. All right. Regular speaking webinars or podcast tours tied to your book topic. That is such a strong way to keep that momentum going, to keep the impact happening. People love to hear, when I hear someone speak, I don't care what they have on their table. I want to buy it. Even if it's not related to me, I want to buy it as a gift and have them sign it. So regular speaking, webinars, podcast tours, all good things to just continue to have on your calendar throughout the rest of the year.
So good. And then the last thing for long-term growth, there's many, many more things, but the last thing we're going to talk about today is really using your book as a lead. So your book is really your business card. It's the thing that tells people that I have experience, I am credible in this specific topic. I walked this road, I have this story. And so it allows you to open doors to things like coaching or consulting or being part of ministry or partnering with ministries. So make sure that you don't just carry around your little paper business card as your calling card, but you actually have your book, because your book does give you a certain status that says, I am an expert on this topic and I can come alongside and help you. And then always make sure that you are identifying what the ministry is or who you are going to be reaching, and then meet their need. It's not about our needs. It's about what our audience, the ministries, the people that God has placed in our path need. And then we find a way to come alongside them with the message that our book has.
I love that. It reminds me what you were saying about that book making you the expert. Dean Smith did his book on forgiveness and does a lot of coaching on that topic. And was just absolutely amazed. Like, I'm the same guy I was the week before my book came out. I'm the same guy, but people sit down when I'm signing a book to them and they're like, "Wow, you do this for coaching. I think can I do that with you?" And it just opens so many doors, that just continues to happen and really keeps the momentum going
It
when
does.
when
That's
you're
what
faithful
happens.
to just keep going and not just go, "Okay, I did my part. Now, God, you make sure they sell."
Yeah.
You know,
So as you launch your book coming up, many of you, or if you are in the process of writing and starting to think about it, really work through this list. I'll post it in our Book Marketing Pro Academy Facebook group so you can see the list and be able to connect with it and kind of determine where you are in the process and start there.
amen.
Yay. Well, that was fun.
Yeah,
All right.
super fun.
Well, we will see you all next week. We have a lot of things planned. So looking forward to that and have a great weekend.
Love y'all. Bye for now.